Good morning and namaste to each of you. Thank you for joining me this morning to honor your mind and your body and your spirit. Let's just take a few moments this morning to become present. So find a nice, comfortable seated position where your spine is nice and long, back of your neck is nice and long. Your diaphragm is open, heart is open. Gently close your eyes and soften your thoughts. Soften your eyes. Soften your shoulders. And soften your heart. Observe your breath as it is, soft and gentle, breathing life into you with each inhale and relaxation with each exhale. Feel the grace of being present, returning to that awareness again and again. You may open your eyes now. For this morning's intention, please think of a positive word or phrase to have with you on the mat and perhaps carry with you throughout the day. This morning's intention I'd like to talk about is the solstice. The shortest day of the year is long on traditions, all celebrating the end of darkness and a return to light. So the solstice takes place this Tuesday. So solstice traditions started many years ago. One of them is called Yule, Y-U-L-E, pronounced Yule, and was a Nordic celebration observing the winter solstice and rebirth of the sun. And many of the Yule traditions still exist. For example, in many Scandinavian and European countries, at Christmas time, a portion of a log is burned, called the Yule log, and it's burned each night from Christmas Eve to the 12th night. And there's other celebrations at this time of year that involve fire and candlelight or light. One is we're familiar with is Hanukkah, and that is the lighting of 8 candles over a period of 8 days. And this year it started November 28th and went through December 6th. There's one that I know one of you is very familiar with, St. Lucia Day. It's Swedish, but also celebrated by the Italians. And I think it's called Lucia Day in Italian. And there's a young lady that is designated to wear a crown of candles, and that crown can hold anywhere from 4 to 8 candles. I don't think there's a tradition to the number. There might be. And that's actually on December 13th. That's a set date, start of the Christmas season. In India, the Hindu has a celebration called Diwali, and it's a row of clay pots that they put out with lights, kind of like what we see when people put out luminaries. And they celebrate over a period of 5 days, and that this year began November 4th. Kwanzaa, we're familiar with that now. That's a lighting of 7 candles over 7 days. And that begins the day after Christmas on December 26th. And one that we're very familiar with is Advent, the lighting of 4 or 5 candles, depends, over a period of 4 weeks. And that started November 28th. And there's 4 weeks between that and Christmas Eve, and that's when the 5th candle gets added or not. And the 4 weeks, each week, there's a different theme that's celebrated. And first week is hope, second week is love, third week is joy, and the last week is peace. So I hope you all have a wonderful solstice and enjoy the sun returning. It hasn't been that bad because we've had a lot of sunny days in the month of December. So to celebrate light and the returning of light, there's a meditation that I'd like to do with you today called Light. So please, again, sit with your spine nice and long and tall, the back of your neck nice and straight. Feel your sit bones snug into your cushion or your mat. Just lengthen the back of your spine as much as what's comfortable. And bring an awareness, if you imagine, to your spine and feel energy in there. Bring your hands in Anjali Mudra, prayer pose, to your heart center. So feel that energy emanating from your sit bones, the base of your spine, all the way up each vertebrae, through the back of the neck, and then out through the top of your head. Imagine this energy is like a warm white light beaming out to the sky. So that white light is filled with energy, starts at the base of your spine, radiates all the way up your spine, back of your neck, out through the top of your head. And that white, warm light shoots up and out of the top of your head. Now bring your hands in the prayer pose still, and inhale, raising your palms past your face and slowly up over your head through that beam of light. And as you do this, ground yourself. Really feel your sit bones in your cushion and mat, and then stretching your arms, creating space all through you. And slowly exhale as you slowly extend your arms out and down, drawing that light out and all around you. Bringing your hands all the way down to the mat. Feel a sense of being warmly enveloped as though you are in a cocoon of nourishing light. Stay in the light of this awareness, breathing gently, creating a sense of deep awareness and acceptance of this moment. You may open your eyes now, and I will meet you on the mat. So let's start this morning by doing some shoulder shrugs. I don't know if you've been busy wrapping presents, decorating trees, a lot of upper arm work. And so we're gonna work that and try to just loosen everything up. Slowly inhaling and exhaling as you roll your shoulders up toward your ears and then down toward the mat. And then at some point, just reverse the direction and gently roll and inhale and exhale the other way. And then relax. Bring your fingertips to your mat. We'll do a few sun breaths. So inhaling deeply, raise your arms up overhead. And exhale, bring your hands down. And if you like, you can continue on with that meditation that we did, just kind of envisioning each time you bring your arms down, that cocoon of nourishing light surrounds you. Inhale, lifting your arms up. And exhale, lifting, bringing your arms down. Inhale up. Exhale down. One last time, inhale up. And exhale down. Bring our hands to prayer pose, and then bring your hands up to face level. We're going to open our arms up into goalposts. And then exhaling, bring your arms back together. See if you can touch your elbows and your palms together. If that's comfortable for you, you can try that. Otherwise, just bring your hands to a TP together. And then inhale, opening your arms out to goal pose, opening your chest, opening your heart. And then exhale, bring your hands back together. Inhale, open. Open as wide as what's comfortable for you. Exhale, bringing your arms back together. Inhale, out. And one last exhale, back together. And bring your arms down. Now bring your right hand to your left knee, and then bring your left hand behind your hips and twist your torso to the left side of your mat. We'll just stay here a moment and breathe deeply. And then bring your torso back to center. Bring your left hand to your right knee. Right hand comes behind your hips on the mat. Turning your torso to the right side of your mat. And a few deep breaths here. And bring your torso back to center. We'll roll down on our mat, one vertebrae at a time, or express method, whichever works best for you today. We're gonna try one vertebrae. And then bring your knees to your chest and hug them gently. Interlacing your fingers, bring the interlaced fingers to your left knee and extend your right foot down to the bottom of the mat. Flex both feet so the toes are pointing up to the ceiling, and lift your right leg up just off the mat a little bit so it's hovering over the mat. It's not actually laying down. If that's not comfortable for you, you can lay it down on the mat. Check in with your lower back, see if it's snug against the mat by tucking your navel to the spine. We're going to lift our right leg up, keeping our feet flexed, just about 45-degree angle. And then bring it down, again, either hovering or lying on the mat. And we're going to take that right foot and then send it out to the right side of the mat. Just gonna, if you can get it outside the edge of the mat, that's great. And then bring it back to center. And then bring that leg back to your chest and give it a hug. And we'll do that with the other leg. So extend it, bring your right hands to the right knee, or your interlaced hands to the right knee, and extend your left leg down, flexing both feet so your toes are pointing up to the ceiling. And you can either hover your leg above the mat, or if that doesn't feel comfortable, bring it down to the mat. And again, check on your lower back, see it's nice and snug against the mat by tucking your navel to the spine. And then we're going to lift the leg up 45 degrees, and then lower it down. And then send that foot off to the left side of the mat, preferably outside the mat if that's comfortable. And bring that back in. And then bring that knee back to your chest. Give both knees a nice hug. We'll do that on both sides again. So shift your hands over to your left knee. Extend your right leg out. Hovering above. Toes are flexed, pointing to the sky. Lift your right leg up 45 degrees. And then back down. And then move your right foot to the right outside the mat and bring it back. And bring your knee back to your chest. Give a nice hug. Switch legs. Extend your left leg down to the end of the mat. Feet are flexed, toes pointing to the sky. Lift your left leg up 45 degrees. Bring it back down. And then move your left foot outside the left side of your mat. And then back. And bring that knee back to your chest. Give a nice hug. We're going to put both feet on the mat, so they're hip width apart, and tuck your heels up toward your hips. You're placing your hands alongside of you with palms facing down to support you. And we're going to do a few cat-cow here, the reclined cat-cows. So we're going to roll our back, tucking our tummy in, kind of creating a bowl and lifting our pelvis up, but not off the mat. And then arching our back for cow, bringing our pelvis down toward the mat and creating a little bit of arch in our lower back. And then back to cat. So you're rounding your back, tucking your pelvis up, and then arching your back, bringing your pelvis down for cow. Continue here for a few moments, just slowly rocking back and forth. Deep inhales, deep exhales. And then come to the cat position where your back is rounded and your pelvis is tilted up. And we're going to push down into our feet, lifting our hips up toward the sky, coming into bridge pose. And then just slowly, slowly lower down to the mat, one vertebrae at a time, till your back is nice and firm on the mat. We'll do that another time. So tuck your tummy in, your navel to your spine, tilting your pelvis up, push down into your feet, and lift your hips up to the sky. And then come down one vertebrae at a time. And one last time. Tuck your navel to your spine, push down into your feet, lift your hips up. And then slowly, slowly lower back down one vertebrae at a time. Rounding your back, feeling each vertebrae hit the mat. And gently come to a neutral position. And then we're going to come back up onto our hands and knees, and you can either roll up or turn to your side and make your way back up into a seated position and then to hands and knees. So to roll, you tuck your hands underneath your knees and just roll until you're in an upright position. We'll come to tabletop, where your wrists right below your shoulders, fingers are splayed out. Weight is evenly distributed in both hands. Knees are right below your hips. Navel's tucked to your spine to create a nice flat back. And then we're going to bring our knees together and do some bird dogs. So having your knees touch together under your hips, extend your right leg out, pointing your toes to the bottom of the mat. And then again, feeling equal weight distribution in your hands, slowly lift your left arm up. And feel stable here. And then inhale with your toes pointed. Exhale with your feet flexed. Inhale, point. Exhale, flex. Inhale, point. Exhale, flex. Inhale, point. Exhale, flex. Inhale, point. Exhale, flex. One last time. Inhale, point. Exhale, flex. Bring both hand and leg back down. Recheck your alignment. Your weight is evenly distributed in both hands. Knees are tucked together. And then lift your left leg up. And slowly lift your right arm up. Left toes are pointed. Inhale. Exhale, flex. Inhale, point. Exhale, flex. Inhale, point. Exhale, flex. Inhale, point. Exhale, flex. Inhale, point. Exhale, flex. And one last time. Inhale, point. Exhale, flex. And bring both hand and knee back down. Slowly lower your hips toward your ankles and come into child's pose, stretching your arms out in front of you for a nice long stretch of your back. Then come back up to tabletop. We're going to do a few modified plank poses. So like a kickstand, bring your left foot out, kickstand it outside of the mat, and extend your right toes down to the bottom of the mat. Your left wrist should be below your left shoulder. I'm going to sweep our right hand from the mat all the way up to the sky, and you can follow it with your eyes if that is comfortable for you. Just opening everything up. And then bring your right hand back down. And we'll do that again. Again, sweep from the mat all the way up. Inhaling all the way. And then back down to the mat. And one last time, sweep your hand all the way up overhead, just like the sun rising, opening your heart to the warmth of a brand new day. And then bring your hand back down. We'll do that on the other side. So come back to tabletop. Kickstand your right foot outside the mat, extending your left foot down to the bottom of the mat, toes pointed. Right wrist is right below your right shoulder. And then take your left hand, sweeping it from the mat all the way up to the sky. And then bring that back down. Inhale, sweep again, slowly as the sun rises up and over the mountains. And then bring that hand back down. And one last time, big inhale, sweeping your hands all the way up to the sky, opening your heart, opening your chest. And then bring that hand back down. We'll tuck our toes underneath and walk our hands back, coming into a squat pose. And push down into your toes to lift up to mountain pose. We'll do our mountain essentials. So the toes are facing the long edge of the mat. You lift your toes up and spread them as far apart as you possibly can. And then bring them back down. Lift to the mat, lift your heels up. And then bring your heels back down to the mat and just feel for a moment that strength and stability and stillness of the mountain pose. Our legs are nice and straight and strong. Soft, gentle bend in your knees. Navel's tucked to the spine. Shoulders are relaxed and rolled back. Crown of your head, top of your head's reaching up to the sky. Then sweep your hands up and overhead. Big inhale and then exhale, bending your knees, bringing your hands down to the mat. Forward fold. And just take a moment here to check in with your body. Send those nourishing breaths. And perhaps that That nice warm light energy, you can send that over to any tense spots that you feel. Then inhale, sweep your hands up to your shins, flattening out your back, creating a straight spine. Gazes down for half forward fold. And then lower your head down toward the mat, the top of your head down toward the mat. Then sweep your hands from the mat all the way up overhead, coming up onto your tippy toes for palm tree. We'll just wave our hands here for a few moments. Feel nice and secure. And then bring our heels down and forward fold, back down, bending your knees, bringing your hands to the mat. Inhale, half forward fold, bringing your hands up to your shins, flattening out your back. Send your hands all the way up to the tops of your thighs. Just slide them all the way up to the tops of your thighs. And really, really feel that chest opening up. And slide your hands all the way down. As you do, bring the top of your head toward the mat. Then inhale, sweep your hands all the way up and overhead. For supported side stretches, we'll bring our right hand down to our right thigh and slide down toward our knee. Inhale, come back up. And switch hands, bringing our left hand to left thigh, slide that down toward our knee. Inhale, come back up. Bring the right hand down and slide toward the knees. Inhale, come back up. And left hand down, slide it toward the knee. And come back up. Both arms overhead. Bring your hands down to the mat, bending your knees deeply. Inhale, half forward fold. Straightening out your back. And then forward fold, crown of your head down toward the mat. Inhale, sweep your hands all the way up and overhead. Bring your hands together, then bring your palms to heart center. We're going to extend our hands straight out and do a few chair poses. So spread your legs out if they're not already at hip width. And you're going to really tuck your navel to your spine so that you support your lower back. Bend your knees, bring your hips down toward the ground. And then inhale, come back up. Just bring your hands alongside. And then we're going to lift our arms back up as we bend our knees, come back down to chair pose. So make it a nice fluid motion out, and then bring standing up, bring your arms down, and then bring them back, arms back forth to the front as you lower your hips down to the mat, toward the mat, not to the mat. And then come back up again. Sweeping hands out in front, lowering your hips down, and just stay here for a moment. Navel's tucked to the spine to support your back, and then come back up. We'll sweep our hands up overhead. Big inhale, exhale, lowering back down to the mat. Bending your knees. Inhale, lifting your hands up to your shins, creating a nice flat back. And then taking the top of your head and reaching down toward the mat. Inhale, sweep your hands from your mat all the way up overhead. Palms come together. Palms come to heart center. And then your hands, the palms of your hand would come to the back of your hips. Fingertips pointing down. Hips, or feet are hip width apart. Shoulders are nice and relaxed and rolled back. Tuck your chin toward your chest and just extend your shoulders backward, keeping your chin tucked toward your chest. And continue breathing. And inhale, come back up. Come back into mountain pose. Inhale, sweeping our hands up overhead. Exhale, forward fold, bringing both hands down to the mat. And extend both feet back into downward dog. Just bring your feet back and keep your knees bent and pedal out. Your fingertips are nice and widely spread, supporting the weight. Arms are nice and straight. Chest is reaching toward your thighs, elevating your hips up. And then inhale, we're gonna bring our right knee rather. Bring our right knee to our right elbow, pushing off with our left toes. And then back to downward dog, pedal out. Inhale, lift your right knee, bring it to the right elbow, pushing off with your left toes. And then back again to downward dog. And this last time, we're gonna bring our right foot up into runner's lunge. So bring it between your hands. Your hands are framing your front foot. Your knees over your ankle. Back leg feels nice and active and strong with the back heels pushing toward the back of the mat. Very active pose. Then bring your hand down, right hand down to the mat, sweeping your left hand up to the sky. And then bring your left hand back down. And we're gonna go into a high lunge from here. So you could do that in 2 steps. First step would be to bring your hands up to your knees, resting on your knees, and then pushing into your foot to lift all the way up, keeping the front knee bent. And you're riding on your back toes, back balls of your feet. And then lift your arms up and overhead, creating a gentle, gentle back bend. And then bring those hands back down to the mat. You're going to pivot your back foot so that it's resting on the mat. And you're going to push down in your front foot, your right foot. So you come up into warrior one. So your warrior one pose. You wiggle into it a little bit. Your knees over your ankle. Back foot, the edge of your back foot's nice and snug in the mat. Feeling pushing down into the mat and pushing toward the ends of the mat. So you feel that activating your legs. Your chest is pointing toward the corner of your mat. Warrior one, we typically, or the classic pose is to twist everything so that it's facing the front of the mat, but I think it's easier on your hips if you keep your focus, your chest, to the corner of the mat. Then we're going to gently interlace our fingers in back of our hips, rolling back our shoulders. And then just lean forward into a modified humble warrior. So we're not going to bring our shoulder all the way down to our knee unless you want to, but we'll just kind of hover here for a moment. And then release your hands, bringing them back down to the mat. And bring your right foot to meet your back foot, coming into plank pose. Wrists are right below your shoulders. Heels are pushing to the back of the mat. Hips tucked to, or navel's tucked to your spine, elevating your hips slightly. And then you can lower to the mat, either knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga. Keeping your elbows tucked to the side. And then we're going to push down gently as we lift up into cobra. Take a few breaths here. And then keep pushing up and then over to child's pose, bringing your hips down toward your ankles. Relax here for a moment. Inhale, come back up to tabletop. We tuck our toes under, come back up to downward dog. And we'll do that all on the other side. So take a few moments here to get comfortable in your downward dog. Pedaling your feet, maybe taking a few 3 or 5 deep, deep breaths. And then inhale, bringing your left knee to your left elbow, pushing off with your right toes. And then back again to downward dog, pedal out. Inhale, lift your left knee to your left elbow. And then back to downward dog, pedal out. And then on this next breath, bring your left foot, so that's between your hands are framing it, coming into runner's lunge. Knees right above your ankle. Back leg is nice and strong, active. Back heels pushing to the back of the mat. So, actually, I think I had it backwards last time. So anyway, plant your right hand on the mat and lifting your left hand up to the sky. I thought it felt a little weird. And then bring your left hand back down, framing your foot. We're going to come up into high lunge. So we'll do that in 2 steps. Or if you can do it in 1 step. It's up to you. So lift your hands up to your knee and then lift your hands up to the sky. High lunge, your knees bent, so that's over your ankle. You're on the ball of your right foot, and you have a bit of an arch to your back. And then bring your hands back down to the mat. Pivot your back foot down, and we'll come into warrior 1. So again, push down in your front foot, coming up into warrior 1. Knees bent over your ankle. Back edge of your foot's nice and snug, pushing down into the mat and pushing out, away from the mat, feeling that strength. Chest is turned toward the upper right-hand corner of your mat. Then we'll relax our shoulders, interlacing our fingers behind our back. Excuse me. And then slowly lean forward, come into a modified humble warrior. And then release your hands, bringing them back down to the mat. Bring your left foot back to meet your right foot, coming into plank pose. Hips are elevated slightly, navel's tucked to the spine, and then lower down to the mat, either knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga, keeping your elbows tucked to the side, to your ribs rather. And then pushing gently down, lifting up into cobra. Cobra, your hips are on the mat. And then push all the way up into into tabletop and then down into child's pose. And then inhale, come back up to tabletop, tuck your toes under and bring yourself back up to downward dog. Pedal out here for a moment or two. Then slowly walk your feet up toward your hands. Coming into a forward fold. Just feel the gravity take over here. Stretching your spine. And then sweep your hands from your mat all the way up overhead. Palms come together. Palms come to heart center. And then we'll turn to face the right side of our mat, coming into wide-legged stance. Your toes are pointing toward the corners of the mat. Heels are tucked in at 45 degrees. And just kind of wiggle around your feet until you get comfortable and feel secure and steady in this stance. And then we're going to sweep our hands up into a star. So your arms are at a V shape. And stretch up to the sky. And then bending your knees and bending your elbows, we're going to come into goddess. So your arms are at on goalpost side or cactus arms. And then we're going to bring those arms together as we did earlier. So you can either touch your elbows or just tent your fingertips together, whichever is most comfortable. So inhale, or exhale, I guess. Then inhale, opening up your arms, opening up your chest. Exhale, bringing your arms together. Inhale, opening. Exhale, closing. Inhale, opening. And then straighten your legs and straighten your arms back up to star. And then we're going to lower our arms to shoulder height. Pivot our feet to the left side. Come and bend our knee coming into warrior two. Knees over your ankle. Again, your feet are nice and snug in the mat. Pushing down and out. Slowly turn your head to look at your left fingertips. And keeping the lunge pose, we're going to drop our back arm, raising the right arm up for a reverse warrior, following our fingertips with our eyes. And then lowering our left hand back down, Back into warrior two. Arms are both out, shoulder height. And then we're going to pivot our feet back to wide-legged stance. You can bring your arms down and rest for a moment. So get comfortable again in that stance. Toes are pointing to the corners of the mat. Heels are tucked in. Navel's tucked in as well. And then we're going to bring our arms up to the star shape. And then lower our arms into goal pose as we bend our knees, coming into goddess pose. Exhale, bring our arms together. Inhale, opening them up. Exhale, arms come together. Inhale, open. Exhale, coming together. Then inhale, opening up. Straighten our legs and straighten our arms back up to star. And then lower our arms to shoulder height and pivot our feet in the opposite direction so that they're facing the opposite side. Our right leg would be, my right leg at least, is pointing toward the short edge. The knees bent, knees over the ankle. Back foot has the edge of the foot snug into the mat. Pushing down, pushing out, feeling the strength in my legs. Slowly turning my head to face my fingertips, right fingertips. And keeping the lunge position, going to drop my back arm and raise my front arm as I follow my fingertips with my gaze up to peaceful warrior. And then bring that arm down as you're raising your back arm, coming back into warrior two. And then you can drop both arms down. Pivot your feet back to wide-legged stance. And then you're gonna bring your toes together and you're gonna toe heel your way back up to mountain pose. Or just walk your way back up to mountain pose. We'll take our pinky toes to the edges of the mat, tucking our heels in at 45 degrees. Nice straight pose. We're going to bring our hands to our heart center, Anjali Mudra, and lower our hips going into wide-legged squat. So just lower your hips gently toward the mat, bringing your torso between your legs, your elbows against your inner part of your knees. And if you want, you can lower your hands down toward the mat, creating a little bit more stretch. And then come down into seated position, into staff pose. So staff pose is an active pose. You're seated, and if you have a blanket or a towel close by, that helps with your hips. Just a little bit of lift here will help create that nice, long, straight back. Your toes are flexed and pointed up to the sky. Shoulders are rolled back. And we're going to take our left foot and bend the knee and place the left foot on the outside of the right leg so that your left foot is on the outer edge of your right knee. And then we're going to wrap our right arm around our left knee, bring our left fingertips behind us for sage pose. So another twist. And come back to center and go back to staff pose where your legs are side by side, toes are flexed. Back is nice and straight and long. Shoulders are rolled back. And then bring the right foot, the sole of the right foot, placing it on the outer edge of your left knee. And bring your left arm, wrapping it around your right knee and bringing your right hand behind your hips. And pivoting your torso toward the right side. And then come back to center. You remove your blanket if you had one there. We're going to roll down, either express method or one vertebrae at a time. Express method this time. Knees to chest. Give them a nice gentle hug. And rock back and forth just to give your lower back a nice massage. And then with your toes, draw a nice big circle. If you've been seeing the moon, the waxing moon come to, I think it's today, full moon, but it's been beautiful the last couple nights. So just create that nice big lunar moon. And then reverse direction with your circle. And then plant both feet. Oh, actually, no, we're gonna hold both knees together, sorry. Give them a nice hug. We'll do this recline. Extend your arms out to shoulder height. And then we're gonna exhale, lowering our knees to the right side. Recline twist. Slowly turning our head to look at our left fingertips. Inhale, roll your head back to center. Inhale, roll your knees back to center. Then exhale, lower your knees to the left side. And then slowly turn your head to look at your right fingertips. And then slowly roll your head back to center, and then slowly roll and lift your legs back to center and extend your legs down to the bottom of the mat and prepare for Shavasana. So just let your body totally relax. Let your feet flop open, relaxing your legs, your knees, your hips. Relax your back and your shoulders. Relax your jaw and your eyes. Feel the nutrients of today's practice soak deep within you. And place a gentle smile upon your lips. For today's poem, it's a poem by an unknown author called A Winter Solstice Blessing. May you find peace in the promise of the solstice night, that each day forward is blessed with more light, that the cycle of nature, unbroken and true, brings faith to your soul and well-being to you. Rejoice in the darkness, in the silence find rest, and may the days that follow be abundantly blessed.